Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of Matt and Rob Talk About F1. I'm Rob, and with me today is...
Still Matt, every day.
It's still
every
Matt.
week.
Amazing. So good. Matt, what are we talking about today?
I think it's fish and the ocean preservation. Or maybe it's some kind of F1...
Interesting.
Is it racing cars? I think it's racing cars.
I think last time, for everyone who doesn't keep up with our personal lives, Matt had a small accident, and he sort of has trouble remembering stuff at the moment. So, Matt, we're talking about Formula One.
Who are you?
To be more precise, the Spanish Grand Prix of the 2020 season for Formula One. I didn't get it wrong this time.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Right, Matt, if you can remember, could you start us off with our qualifying predictions from last week's episode?
Yes. So our qualifying prediction were, for you, Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen.
Yes.
And I had Bottas, Hamilton, Hülkenberg, which, didn't happen. You had 100% right. You won your bet.
Yes!
Perfect.
I'm so good at this. Yes.
Man.
Some might say boring, but hey,
Yeah, it's accurate, let's say.
You gotta pick your battles. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a shame. Your predictions, your top two, close.
Close,
as usual.
yeah.
The Mercedes boys are neck and neck, really. But yeah, Hülkenberg wasn't there.
I tried. I mean, it's bad. Again, it's good at the same time. It's like a good and bad situation. It's like glad for Perez to come back. Not happy that Hülkenberg is left again, and doesn't want to be racing, but,
Yeah.
What can you do?
It would have definitely been nice to see Hülkenberg back for the third time.
Yeah.
I do hope, I feel like we will see him back for the next season after he had, a really good sort of show or demonstration of his abilities.
Sadly, it was only one race, really. He had a little practice and then he could do actual race, but, that's how it is. We saw him at least in 2020, so,
Exactly. And he made the, I don't know. He made, like, a lot of the people on Twitter that, were asking for him, quite happy, I think, with his performance.
He brought a little excitement to the second.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the Silverstone event, I guess, both.
Yeah, and, I think also what he brought is a lot of expectation for Perez to come back and perform pretty well, because he showed how good the car was. I think Perez did a really good job.
In qualifying, he definitely did good. Yeah.
Yeah, P4.
I think that was probably the best anyone could have done with the car. So, definitely good to, after 2 weeks of, not being there, a bit sick and stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
Qualifying his teammate is always a good thing, So.
Yeah, out qualifying Stroll.
Yeah.
Which, again, is interesting for this sort of, internal debate and tactics and stuff like that. And
the race race went another way, but
Yeah, that's very true. But Perez is still saying, I'm here, I'm good, I deserve a seat.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't just replace me with a German, whichever German it is. It's already kind of weird that they sort of went for Hülkenberg. Sure. I mean, it was a good choice, but still, yeah. Stroll in 5th place, Albon in 6th.
Yeah. That was what can I say?
Yeah, what can we say about Albon in 6th?
I mean, it was the start of a weird, tricky weekend again for him. I don't know if 6 is still he should be. I mean, I understand that he is struggling compared to Verstappen and blah blah, the car and setup, but I think still he should be just behind him. Even if it's a few tenths behind, it shouldn't be like 2 cars. 2 cars in between them. I think it's a bit too much.
I think it's something like 7/10. So
it was. I think it was 7. Verstappen was 7 tenths behind Lewis, and then he was 1.4. So it was 7 tenths.
Yeah, so
it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot
over half a second. Yeah, for someone in the same car.
That's
quite a lot.
It's not good for sure. Yeah, I mean, I want him to be good, to do good so bad, but I mean, I don't know what to think anymore. It's super tricky to understand what's happening, really.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem to be understanding either. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, like from the race and everything like that, he seemed to, just say we need to go and have another look at what happened this weekend and to figure out what we can do better.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
after that it was the Ferrari prediction that we did.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Ferrari
Yeah,
predictions.
it was
Again.
interesting stuff. You said Vettel. Did you say that? Oh, yeah, you said that apparently. Vettel 5th and Leclerc 7, and I said Vettel 8th.
No, I didn't say that. No,
Oh no,
you
sorry,
gone
it's
to
the opposite. What?
Yeah. No. You had the. I think you had the race predictions there.
Oh my bad. Yeah, my bad.
That's okay.
Leclerc
It wasn't
7
that
for you,
far off.
and
Yeah.
Vettel 10th, and I said Vettel 7th and Leclerc 9.
You
we
always.
we both agreed that someone of Ferrari was going to be 7th.
Yeah. We did.
Which didn't happen at all.
No, I didn't. I mean, I do like that you, always cheer for my boy Vettel, and put him in front of Leclerc, which I like. I
Well, I
appreciate
wasn't doing that last year, but this year he's struggling, so I guess I feel
that.
kind of bad for him. So
Yeah.
I have to.
Now that he's down, you want to sort of help him up a bit.
But I had
Um,
Leclerc right. I said 9th and he qualified 9th.
That's true.
Hey.
I had Vettel pretty close. He actually got 11th, which I think is better than 10th because of tire choice, which makes a huge
It's true.
difference.
I think it's definitely true for
Nice.
that. I think it's if you had to choose, probably it's better to start 11th. It doesn't change anything almost. Like you can probably gain it on
Yeah.
the start and you can choose your tires. So I think
Yeah, exactly that one position.
you gain
yeah.
way more to just.
But it
So,
was incredibly close for Vettel to not get
Oh, yeah,
into
it was insane.
Q3
Yeah, it was-
even.
So
Yeah.
for me, it was pretty much the same with Leclerc. I think they could have, they were not like a huge difference of a level. They were on the
No.
same kind of pace. So he didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't get like outperformed or whatever by his teammate. He was just very close qualifying.
Yeah. I mean, he still qualified before him and made Q3, so that's always a bit.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, that-
on the paper it's still not as good, but it's not
exactly,
bad. It
yeah.
didn't perform bad. I mean, like it's 200 of seconds or something like that. So it was.
Yeah, that was
Unlucky, I'd say.
to Norris, right? Was Norris 10th?
I think it was
Is that
Norris.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so it was Norris in that session. I think that was. Yeah. So, but it's crazy to see. There's an amazing video online where they show the sort of the side by side. I love the sort of work they do for F1 with the different graphics and stuff, where you can see on the left the two different cars, and there's sort of the gap, and just on the straights the Ferrari is just sort of like slowly losing time, and then Vettel makes it up in some of the corners.
It's insane how much time they lose. It's just
Yeah, and
amazing.
it's just such a weird, weird thing. So it didn't go that great for Vettel, but I think all in all, unfortunately, Ferrari couldn't have expected much more out of their car in their weekend, right?
Yeah, with such a long straight too. I think it was tricky for them to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the longest straights. I mean, it's definitely not a strong suit for them this year to have like
Not this year. No.
straight line
Last
performance
year.
is definitely something that now they're struggling somehow. Last year they were like flying. It was like
They were
almost like the
unbeatable in straight line performance last year. Oh.
There was a bullet on the straight. Now it's like something happened. Like they pulled the brake and they can't take it off. So
Yeah,
That's
it's
not
it's
good.
weird. It's like almost like they forgot to take the handbrake off or something like that. It's
but
not
I
quite
guess
that extreme.
I guess it was not for not kind of a bad car for Ferrari. It was not a bad performance. I'd say it's
No,
all right.
No,
I'd say
exactly.
It's like it could
but
be
it's
worse.
it's interesting because I think they changed chassis on Vettel's car, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping and expecting maybe a bit more of a eureka moment, and it's finally like, hey, we fixed the car. But really, it sort of seemed like they were trying to please Vettel a little bit with, I think if the driver thinks it might help, we'll do that or something like that.
And we'll get to like the relationship between them a bit after, but maybe
Yeah,
it was something like that. Yeah, but I think just it's still better than the Renaults, I'd say, because they still went in the top 10 almost, both cars. Renault was completely off this weekend for some reason. They were like,
Yeah, that was surprising to me as well. Probably most surprising in terms of how bad
just
they
to be
did,
that
yeah.
far. Yeah, it's they were really good last week, and it was like showing strong pace, and like we thought it's gonna get
Yeah, like
the racing
Ricciardo did
points.
really well last year. Yeah.
And nothing.
Yeah,
just
13th and 15th for them too. Raikkonen, 14th. He made it out of Q1 into Q2
for the first time. Yeah,
for the first time. What with this team, right? Like, or this?
I think no, this
season,
season.
it was the season. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, which is great, I guess. I don't know if someone like Raikkonen, who is, I think now officially driver with the most
Yeah.
miles and kilometers around the racetrack. I think it's something crazy like he drove around the Earth like twice
Yeah, something like that.
during races.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing stat. But for someone like that, I think I don't know if you're happy about Q2. I don't really
I think
know.
it must be like a very frustrating year for him. I think there's a lot of talks about him leaving for
Yeah.
next year, which I can
I mean,
understand. I,
could-
mean, you know,
I could see
why
that,
would
yeah.
you? It's and he says it's like a hobby for him. So if he enjoys it, he's gonna stay. But if he doesn't, like, why would he? You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's
What,
just
what a nice hobby to have. Sorry.
oh yeah, for sure. But then you have a family and stuff, so it's like, you know, as soon as it becomes not like something you need to do, then you can really quickly like, you know, wonder like, should I continue just for having fun every weekend? And it's gonna be an
Yeah.
intense year also. It's gonna be like back to back to back. So it's gonna be a very intense year. So if it's not a great year and also it's very intense and stuff, it can, you know. But I don't think it's bad. I think, you know, if he can do other stuff and then, you know, maybe we have some young people coming.
Yeah, I think for the sort of the future of the sport, I think it's nice to, even though Alonso's coming back, to have a bit more, you know, younger people coming in and sort of
But-
like
and,
building up the future of, you know.
And Hülkenberg was in talks with Alfa Romeo, so that's interesting. you know.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So that could be something. That could be something.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like maybe he has his eye on a bit of the racing point now.
I mean, I mean, it's gonna be sad to see him come back again in a underperforming team because he never was lucky with, you know. And
no.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Was it Ross Brown that said that if Lewis didn't join Mercedes, it was gonna be Hülkenberg? I mean, how sad must he have been when you heard this news? I mean,
that is tough.
how
Yeah,
life-changing.
that is-
It was like
that is insane.
life-changing moment that just didn't happen
Yeah.
for him.
I think that always fascinates me about the sport. It's not that, you know, there's a lot of a lot of drivers come and go over the years, and a lot of them are very, very good. You know, they come out of Formula 2 and Formula 3 and stuff like that. But I think to become someone like a Hamilton or a Schumacher, you know, someone who's won that many times, it's not only your ability. I mean, your ability plays a huge part, but also like just timing and sort of luck, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if Vettel would have joined Ferrari back in the day when they had that, you know, great phase with Schumacher, he probably would be winning races now and stuff like that. But that's just not the case. And equally,
it's-
like, I don't think anyone predicted Mercedes dominance for this many years in a
Oh, no,
row
for
consecutively.
sure. Yeah, that's
Um,
it's always like it. You know, sometimes life is that a little thing and makes it completely different. And sadly for Hülkenberg, it was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess not
that's
his
crazy.
not time enough for him. Hopefully, at some point he'll get an opportunity. I think, you know.
I hope so too. After the recent performance, yeah. Right. Is there any more things out of qualifying that stood out for you? Or shall we move on to-
Just Gasly 10th. I think it was, you know, again the guy is performing every week. You know.
Yeah.
He's just showing
That's
up
true.
every week and
Yeah.
performing very strongly. So again, I was impressed by him and probably one of the guys I'm most impressed this year with probably Norris and Verstappen.
yeah, like
because,
sort
you
of
know,
his like progress and
yeah.
everything like that.
super
um,
consistent,
Yeah.
outperforming Kvyat by miles like every week.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. It's super interesting though to see him go from where he was to where he is now, and sort of the team and everything like that. And I guess maybe less pressure works for him. I don't know.
I guess it was
Um,
like hero to zero to hero again. It's a weird journey for him, I guess. But it's good.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
for his
absolutely,
confidence,
yeah.
I think it's very good that probably that happened.
Yeah,
Just
I'd like
like-
to see him in a different team, maybe in like a couple of years' time. You know, in one of the sort of
Maybe
Teams
Red Bull. I
that'd be
mean, who
good.
knows? You know, how it's
yeah,
gonna
exactly
end.
right. Yeah. I mean, he won't ever. I don't know. I think Verstappen is with Red Bull for the rest of his career at this point.
Who knows? I mean, you know, he
Right,
definitely
yeah,
wants like a championship-winning car. So if they can't deliver,
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, I could see him going right. Bottas is going, or whoever. You know, I'm jumping in a Mercedes.
you know, because imagine
See you guys.
like Verstappen doing like 10 years or whatever he does in F1 and not winning one championship because of the car. That would be insane. That would be like the biggest waste of a driver ever. So,
Yeah. You can clearly tell he has the potential, and like his
Oh yeah.
not only the potential, he just does stuff a lot of other drivers don't, and like pushes, and like the way he overtakes and everything like that. Or since he joined F1, you're always known for like crazy overtakes and stuff.
Yeah. And I think like
Um,
he would have been like in the Vettel Red Bull era, he would have been doing the same thing, like winning championships.
Yeah.
back to back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah.
100%. Yeah. Right.
Anyway, let's go to the race now.
Yeah, race predictions.
Oh yeah, race predictions. Go for
race
it,
predictions, and they're very important race predictions. Don't ever forget them.
Yes.
We both were very optimistic. I was even more optimistic.
Yeah,
I
thought it was a wild bet.
Yeah, mine was a very wild bet. I thought that Hülkenberg was back, which he wasn't, and that Mercedes would just, I don't know, somehow crash into each other, or like, I don't know, there would be double DNF. Which didn't happen. So I said Verstappen, Albon, and Hülkenberg for 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And you said Verstappen 1, Hamilton 2, Bottas 3, and then Albon 4th. I think you wrote that down.
Yeah, I really believed that, but sadly it didn't happen again.
Yeah, just because after the last race, that's sort of what we were hoping for with Verstappen and sort of the tires and everything like that. But this time Mercedes sort of figured it out again.
And it was not the problem with tires this week. There was not the
no, exactly. Yeah, they went back to the harder compound, right? Is that right?
I'm not sure of that, but probably yeah. And again, like
I think so.
It depends of track sometimes and everything. So
yeah. I think they didn't go for the compound that was as soft as they had the race before, and I think that was the sort of the challenge they had. But
yeah, I mean,
so in the end we got Hamilton 1, Verstappen 2, which is still great. And Bottas 3rd, which is again is a bit of a disappointment for Bottas, which seems to be sort of almost a reoccurring sort of thing for him, that he does very well in qualifying, but then sort of something in the race is sort of not quite working out for Bottas.
Yeah, I think he's doing. I think he's doing good in quali. I don't think he's doing extremely good. I think if he was doing like very well, he would be beating Hamilton.
Yeah, I guess it's always he's always compared to Hamilton. So
because I think it should be the same. It should be the same relationship with almost like any like team. Between like two drivers in the same team, it should be almost as close as they are between Bottas and Hamilton. Like Verstappen and Albon should be the same. And I mean we see like the McLarens were like together and like most cars were together. But I think he's doing good. But I think sometimes he has. I mean, I don't know if he really has the edge sometimes, or Hamilton doesn't have a great weekend. It's like that's what I'm wondering now. It's like when he wins and he's dominant, is this something with him, or is it just Hamilton doesn't have a good weekend and just takes advantage of it, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, you should definitely take advantage of Hamilton having bad weekends.
Exactly.
But does he have the little extra thing to actually beat Hamilton? And it was very interesting because this weekend Rosberg was.
I was just going to say that.
Super interesting, everything that Rosberg was saying.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, like I think it's the first time this season anyway they had him on.
Yeah, and it was amazing insights. Amazing.
Yeah, the insights he was giving and like just small details that sort of like most commentators don't talk about. Anything from like, I think he was talking about the race engineer for Hamilton, I think it was sort of on the start grid, just checking sort of the traction of his shoe on the tarmac, just to sort of see whether his sort of like, because basically they set the clutch, so when the clutch sort of engages and how much and that kind of stuff for the start, and they test these starts from the pit lane, but the traction and the sort of grippiness of the asphalt is always different on both ends, and yeah, that sort of insight was really really interesting. But he also said something about Bottas, right?
Yeah, he was saying, it was basically like giving kind of advices, like or just saying like what could you do better to just like actually compete with Hamilton for the championship. And he was like basically saying, like for example in 2016, I mean they had like, I think it was definitely like not the worst I think the Hamilton-Rosberg relationship was, but it was not great relationship between them. But I think the whole point he was saying was like, I don't think he was happy about like, I think they both not regret, but I think they were talking, having a normal conversation in the pits this weekend, and I think it was just in the thing at the moment, it's like emotions and racing and competitors and whatever. So I think now they live in the same building and stuff. So, but what he was saying is like basically, but maybe Bottas is not. He's maybe a bit too nice. They never had any like arguments. They never had any like, maybe he's not aggressive enough. Maybe he doesn't just push it enough, and it's not making his shoulders wide enough. And I think the start was definitely exactly what Rosberg said, because Rosberg said like Rosberg was saying like at the start what he should do is like put pressure on Lewis as much as possible. Just push him as much as possible outside and just like leave him no room and try to actually show him like I'm there and I'm not gonna move, you know. And the start was definitely exactly like the thing was Rosberg was saying was like Bottas is too nice, and he left way too much space for no reason really.
Yeah, that's true. I think he should have been a bit more aggressive at the beginning. 100%. That's exactly what I was gonna talk about. That sort of commentary from Rosberg to say he should be more aggressive and like. But I think what Rosberg did and sort of ultimately their relationship wasn't. I don't know. It seemed really stressed all the time between Rosberg and Hamilton. But that sort of allows for like some sort of a bit of a mental game, right? To sort of like psych the other one out a bit, just get them out of their rhythm and that kind of stuff, which is what you need to do if you want to win, and especially if you want to win against Hamilton, right? Because you know your biggest chance is for him to have a bad weekend, and so not almost anything you could do, but like if there's any chance you could sort of help that a little bit that he has a bad weekend, you should go for it. How much do you think Bottas' sort of performance at the beginning was down to the track and down to sort of the fact that most races we've seen somebody will overtake because of the slipstream? And how much do you think it was because he wasn't aggressive enough?
Well, I think he definitely said that the start wasn't optimal. So that's definitely like he didn't have a good start. So that doesn't help for sure. Yeah. And then like he was basically like, that's also like when you start with a bad start in Barcelona, then people are going to get the toe. And then when they get the toe, like you're going to get passed. But the thing is like he left a space on the inside, which he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And Stroll just went there and like he left the space and Stroll went there and that was it. And it took like 5 laps for him to overtake Stroll after, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, he killed his race basically, and then he couldn't come back to Verstappen, which was surprising too. Like he couldn't come back to it.
Yeah, I didn't really understand. I was because he was closing up a little bit sometimes, but not really ever getting anywhere near him. And I don't know if that's because of the track, and the track sort of it is hard to overtake at this track, or
but he didn't come close at all. Like he still was quite maybe 2-3 seconds away, and then like I think at the end it was like a huge gap between him and Verstappen, and also like between Verstappen and Hamilton. Because what I would say is like as dominant as Hamilton was, he should have been able to catch. With the same pace, he would have caught Verstappen easily if he was driving at the same pace as Hamilton, because like. I think at the end it was like 25 seconds between Hamilton and Verstappen. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, something crazy. I think Hamilton could have done another pit stop almost. That sort of.
So it's like it's. I think he definitely had a bad start, which doesn't help. Then he was a bit too nice and kind of let Stroll pass again, like not completely, but.
He didn't stop or anything.
I think why Rosberg won the 2016 championship was, I mean, he was like completely in, like he was all in. Like he wasn't gonna leave anything on the table, and he was like, it was a messy year for like there was messy races and there was like double DNS and whatever.
Yeah, 2016 at the same track was the race where they both went off, right? Yeah. I don't know who took who, but like they touched a little bit.
It was kind of it was a weird one, but it was kind of Rosberg pushing Lewis on the grass and then Lewis spinning in the grass and hitting.
Yeah. I think it was also 2016 where. Was it?
It was in Austria, I think.
In Austria, right? Yeah. That thing is just sort of stuck in my head. It's like
so. I think
sort of impeding each other and stuff like that.
Was there, you know what I mean? So he wanted it all in, and what happened, but he was not gonna let go and And I think like sometimes like you have great relationship like Norris and Sainz and people like that like they get along very well and they can still race hard and like make the most of the car and whatever. But sometimes you get against someone like Lewis and. I don't think like it's like if maybe like I think that if you're such a different character than Lewis and you're like he's special, like there is no denying Lewis is special and there is something special about him.
Of course, yeah.
So if you're not as special as him, you need to like just. I don't think you can be like too much of a good teammate, because then you become just a good number 2. You become like the nice guy that's gonna help develop the car. And is it good?
I think. I don't know, from like the team perspective, I don't know if they ever would want to change that necessarily. I don't know if they would want to push him. But from Bottas' perspective... That's
why I think Bottas is a great number 2.
Yeah, like he's the best number 2. He's very consistent. He qualifies second or first sometimes.
Yeah.
And then he gives him space and he tries to like avoid any collision or anything like that, which would be tremendous to the team. amazing to watch, right? Like I'd rather have another teammate like Rosberg who sort of really pushes him. And
But they
there's a bit
don't
of
want
drama
that.
and
I
they
mean, it was a
fight.
nightmare year
No,
for Mercedes. It was a
Oh,
nightmare year for
absolutely. Yeah,
them.
yeah.
So they
Yeah.
definitely don't want Bottas to start going wild. But I think the only way for
No.
him to... now he's like 74 or something like points away or something crazy. Or like
Yeah.
54, I forgot. Like, but something big. And it's like...
He's third now in the
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Lewis,
championship.
I think if Lewis was saying like if Verstappen didn't DNF at the first race, he would have been like 14 points behind or something. So Verstappen is having
Yeah.
a super strong year, even if the car is
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
not as good as Mercedes. But yeah, again, like I think Bottas can do it. I think it's just maybe something he needs to do something extra, like just maybe
Yeah,
I think
find that
maybe-
aggressiveness or something.
I mean, yeah, I think he didn't help like the Rosberg Mercedes relationship the way he probably was as as hard racing and as he was going very aggressively, and maybe it wasn't the best year for Mercedes and
It was a great
Rosberg,
year to watch. Great year to watch.
But at the same time, that's why he won the championship. So I don't think he regrets anything. Like that's the way he won it,
No.
and that was probably
No,
the only
exactly.
way for Rosberg to win the championship
Yeah.
against Lewis.
And it took a lot of out of him, right? Like I think from what he said and why he quit was because it was
Oh, yeah, it
so
was
intense
insane.
to
Oh,
bring the
yeah.
fight to him every single weekend or race weekend, and just to like challenge him and that stuff. And he was like, "Done it once, that's it, I'm done."
And you see Bottas. I
Which
mean,
is fair
Bottas was like, he was very, very kind of down this after the in the interviews. He was like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to be here right now, and blah blah. And
Yeah, it was
Wanted
just
to
another
see what
disappointing
happened.
weekend because he lost second place effectively, which should
Yeah.
have been a safe bet.
and I think sometimes I think you just need to come back and just like maybe like you can still be very nice like outside the race, but in the race I think you just have to send it harder, or like I don't know, somehow just I don't know,
Couldn't fully
but-
send it.
yeah, I don't know, just
Yeah.
like sometimes if you really want to win it, just you have to
Yeah,
be
and
like
that's
less
sort of
team focused and more like selfish, I guess sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's something that other teams like Verstappen has 100% and stuff like that. And I think last year's battle between Leclerc and Vettel as well was something similar like that, which was incredible to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I don't know. I don't know if he's going to change until I don't know how long they're going to stay with the team or anything.
Yeah, it's his character, isn't it? I think he always has been
Oh, yeah,
a
100%.
nice guy. And I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe
Exactly.
but because Rosberg was. I mean, he was always like he's still a nice guy, but I mean, he just wanted it more than ever in 2016, and he just
Yeah,
came
100%.
to win, and that's it. And then after
Yeah.
that, he stopped, but he still like he was. He switched. He pulled the switch on this year and just like went full on. So maybe if next year is the last year for Bottas and he feels it, maybe
yeah.
it's gonna, maybe
Next year's the last year with the old regulations and old cars and stuff like that. So
also, so
like,
who knows?
yeah, exactly. What I'm expecting to be another dominant year for Mercedes because the regulation doesn't change. But from then on, it's sort of a bit of a question mark to how good Mercedes is going to be or how the team's going to find something a bit more
And
special.
also, I would say like, if Russell continues to perform like that this year and next year, would they want to keep Bottas in the car or have a fresh like young driver with a new car, new like regulations and everything in 2022?
Yeah.
So
True. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
then was Verstappen too that had a great race again.
Oh yeah, really good race. Interesting, interesting radio messages between.
Oh my god, he went on a rant for like 5 minutes. He was
yeah.
full on like doing a monologue. Like, I have
It
my
was
text
crazy,
ready.
yeah.
Just
I thought it was really interesting because from what the commentator said on the race, actually like him and his race engineer are very close and actually they're quite good buddies and stuff like that.
yeah, super.
But he
cool,
got so annoyed at his race engineer. Like,
oh yeah,
we need to focus on our own race. Yeah, right. Well, why don't we start with that, right?
and it was like my tires are done, and he was like, "Do I need to repeat again? I don't have
Yeah,
any
do you want
tires
to take
left."
it? Yeah.
No, you don't need to
I'm
repeat,
so
Max.
slow.
You don't need
Yeah.
to repeat, Max. And he was like,
I will overtake easily. It's like, okay.
"We're wasting so much time."
No.
And he was like,
It was
and he said something about Mercedes. I was like, "Yeah, let's not focus on. We shouldn't focus on Mercedes. We should focus on our race because that's our race, and
Yeah.
we should do whatever." And it was like for 30 seconds, he didn't stop. And then it was like,
It was
his
crazy.
engineer was like, Put your head down, Max.
yeah. Just mate, just
Shut
keep
up and
driving,
drive,
right?
man.
Yeah. Which I thought was just interesting, and I think again, like talking about the way we talked about Bottas, it's just like that's sort of that fire and that spirit that he really, really still wants it and like wants to win. So much so that he sort of, it's not that he doesn't trust his team, but he's just like, we need to do this. Like he feels so strongly about it and voices it, and I quite like that, and I like to hear that radio and those messages. And
I feel like
in the end,
he's kind of like Hamilton. Like he feels the car. Like he feels, like he's very like one with the car. Like Hamilton knows where the tires are. Like when he wants to change it, which tires, and like Vettel too. Like I think he feels like he has as much experience than Hamilton and Vettel. Like it's crazy. Like he's so young and way less experienced, but he's still like he can also like advise the team as good as a Hamilton or a Vettel, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Hamilton was literally
so.
like in this race he was like, don't give me the soft, give me the medium, because he didn't want to take. It was the right call because Bottas destroyed his race on the soft and couldn't catch Verstappen. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy that they just couldn't make them work in the end. Yeah.
The guy is special also. It's amazing. But yeah, maximizing the car again. Like as he said, I think it was a great thing that he said. Like let's not focus on Mercedes. Let's focus on ourselves, because again, like they wouldn't be able to catch Hamilton anyway. Like he was
I think they were still hoping from last.
Yeah, they were hoping because
race,
he was 1.5 seconds like away. But as soon as Hamilton started putting the foot on the throttle, it was over. Like he was.
It's interesting that Verstappen could tell the team that Hamilton was driving really, really slowly. I mean, really slowly. But like, he could see that he wasn't pushing the car as much as he could do or was able to, and that's sort of, an insight that the driver has more so than I guess people on the monitors and stuff like that. Do you think there's anything they could have done differently to Verstappen's strategy? Because I feel like even though Verstappen said, bring me in now, they waited a couple of laps. And I actually think that worked out better for them.
I think it did. I think they did everything right for the strategy.
Yeah.
I think it was perfect. I mean, overall in the race, he was stopped. He was stopped for 3.9 seconds.
I was just going to say that. Not only was the strategy good.
It was perfect. Like they did
their pit stop. Oh my God. 1.9 seconds.
And 2 seconds the second one. Like how? It's just amazing.
That's crazy. I unfortunately had to change a tire recently on a car because I got a puncture. It wasn't quite as quick as that, and it was only one tire. So
often you bring it to the shop and you ask them like, "Can you do it in sub 3 seconds?" And they're like, "Maybe not."
Probably not. Yeah, so that's absolutely insane. Again, really good performance.
Red Bull is the best for that. It's insane, like how good they are. It's just, 2 stops, perfect, and like the first one, the 1.9 seconds made him come out in front of the Racing Point, which was detrimental for the rest of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was exactly what he needed. Like it was like,
it would have been 2.5 seconds. It would have been a great stop, 2.5. But it was awesome. It would have been behind. So yeah,
for them to nail it that quickly is insane. Shall we move on to our Ferrari predictions, which we didn't do?
Let's do it.
So my Ferrari predictions were Vettel in 5th and Leclerc in 7th. Yours was Vettel 8th and Leclerc 10th.
I mean, I had like something almost right, but it was not there. But
yeah, but we're close. I had one Ferrari on 7th, not the right one. But which one do you want to talk about first, Vettel or Leclerc?
I mean, let's speak about Leclerc because it's the fastest thing to speak about. I think it was just it was a strong weekend so far, and then mechanical problem, electrical failure. What can you do? Engine stops, pulls it blocks the rear axle, so it just spins. Doesn't want to switch back on. Yeah. Doesn't want to switch back on. So then he starts to take his seatbelts off, and then the engine can start. Then he does a lap, which was weird. It was like they were saying like he was not tight enough, so it came. But then at the end, in the interview, he was saying like, I took my seatbelt off. So I was like, if he took them completely off and then needed one lap during a race with no seatbelts, how legal is that?
Crazy. That's something else. I don't think has been any investigation into that yet.
That was weird. I think was there a little bit untightened, or was it like just off? Because if it was off, that would have been super dangerous and probably like
from what I heard about on the radio, which is kind of frustrating to listen to as well because it sounds like there's a lot of communication issues, just sort of like his race engineer not being really sure what to do and like that kind of stuff. And he told his race engineer twice that his seatbelt was off, so they need to pit. But I think he's lost so I think it's a 4 or 5 point racing harness, right? So they clip into like a thing in the middle usually. And I think he's just lost the thing that they clip into. Because he must have pressed it by accident or something like that. I don't know if there's a button in the middle. I don't know how it works. And then he just like didn't have a seatbelt on at all. When he's still sort of, I don't know if he's sort of strapped in or not. But
no,
like
when your seatbelt is off, you're not strapped in. It's tight. Like the seat is tight, everything is tight, so you won't move too much. But I mean, they're driving fast even on a slow lap. So it's like, how legal is that? Like how? It's definitely dangerous. But how legal is that? Like should he have just stopped the car, got out, and that's it?
Yeah.
That's I didn't hear anything about that, and I thought it was very weird because like in a normal car you don't want to be driving without a seatbelt, but like in a racing car,
you definitely
with all the rules involved in Formula One, like how if you take your seatbelt off, just probably you should just and you can't put it back on, just probably just get out of the car,
Yeah. Because if somebody drives into you and you like get jolted, like you're not secure at all in that thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
brake failure or whatever happens,
Right? Yeah. The worst thing would be to hit the barriers or something like that. Yeah. So that is absolutely crazy.
So that was weird. I was a bit surprised that no one mentioned that in the commentary.
No, exactly. No investigations or anything like that. It's just that. Yeah, I don't know if like why that sort of wasn't an issue for them. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. Anyway,
upsetting for Leclerc to sort of have a decent race and then sort of end it on that.
It could have been a decent race again for Ferrari, even with a bad car.
But it seems to be that only one Ferrari at the moment can have a decent race.
And this time it was Vettel. Can have a strategy or can have people working for him. It's insane. It's like,
Vettel's strategy was like almost right, but almost
it was not right at all. It was just, they had no clue what they were doing. It was Vettel just making Ferrari team by himself. He was the only guy in the garage, in the car. There was no one. He almost had to get out of the car to change his tires. It was just insane.
Yeah, and maybe that's why you got driver of the day, because it's just like at this point it's like,
it's insane.
Really, do they know what he's doing? I don't know. But yeah, it was interesting. So he was on the radio to his engineer about, right, what do you guys want me to do with these tires? How fast? Tell me the lap delta. Like, what do I need to sort of stay ahead or come out ahead of other people if I need to pit again, that kind of thing. And then they did that for like 3 or 4 laps, and then the race engineer's like, Sebastian, could we go to the end of the race? And he's like, he just loses it.
Well, at first, I think the first message was like, he asked like, what pace should I do? And he was like, tell me what pace I should do with the tires. And they were like, copy. And I didn't answer. And then they were like, after 1 lap, they were like, oh, just push.
Yeah, push.
And then like 3 laps later, oh, what do you think about staying until the end? And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you should have told me this 3 laps earlier.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. Like, how can you completely switch your mind in 3 laps? And like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, is there no one working for? I mean, who is the guy working for the strategy at Ferrari? It's just like some random intern that is just like rolling dice and pretending to do some strategy. I mean, that is insane.
Yeah, like that's something that I just really didn't understand how you can swap it. I mean, sometimes they're like, oh, okay, we're surprised by how the tire performs and stuff like that, but like. They knew the tire. Well, he obviously didn't start on that tire, but like they had an idea of. I think it was a soft tire. He then ended up doing like 37 laps on or something crazy like that.
It would have been an easy one stop otherwise.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, because that was the strategy Leclerc was on. I think he was on one stop.
Yeah, they were preparing to do one stop. Yeah,
on soft to then on medium. But Vettel again would have been on the wrong strategy and then wasn't, and.
It doesn't make any sense sometimes.
And Vettel was just like, we have nothing to lose. Let's just stick with these tires. We'll see how it goes. But then also, interestingly enough, Vettel was like, let's not waste time on people we can't leave behind us, right? Let's, have a decent pace because which is kind of weird to think about, but you lose time and you compromise your like lap time by trying to defend against other cars. Because if you just go the racing line, there's enough space for other people to overtake. But if you sort of defend and drive a bit more defensively, you're ultimately slower. So he ended up seventh.
What is surprising also is was Matthias Binotto comments after the race, and he was basically saying like, oh yeah, his comments on the radio were basically showing his frustration of not being able to be part of the team next year. So but apart from that, we're working well with him.
I didn't see
hear
that video.
Oh yeah,
no, I didn't hear that. I don't know how I missed that.
He was Italian television, and it's on Twitter today, and people were basically saying,
I need to look that up.
Basically,
we'll definitely link it. Yeah, we'll definitely link it to the video. But like,
he was basically saying like, he just, you can really see his frustration on not being able to be part of the team next year. That's why he's speaking like that on the radio.
I mean, to be fair, that doesn't sound like there's much of a team he's part of anyway.
Yeah, and Vettel was saying like, oh yeah, I don't understand, like, I don't think they're doing everything to help me or whatever. Like, he was kind of critical of Ferrari, and then Ferrari was kind of super critical of him too. So it was just a weird. That's a messy divorce. Like, it's just an ugly end of relationship.
Just like, but they're all like, I don't understand. They're like adults and professionals in a way, right? Like, just get it over and done with. Try your best, and like, I don't know. It's. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's absolutely awesome for people like us, like anyone watching. It's like that drama is great, and I like that about F1 that you have the drama sometimes. But this sort of gets to a point where it's like. And
he was saying like, he was saying also like, oh, he doesn't seem like he wants to, give advice for the future and blah blah. He doesn't seem like as involved as. It's like, it's insane. Yeah. Like, just like.
You surprised by that?
Yeah, it's like you just fired him, like, just not even discussing contracts or anything. Just told him like,
not even giving him a warning. Yeah, not
just
even
ciao. I'll see you never.
Yeah, ciao, Sebastian. Ciao.
Go back to Germany. We don't want to see you again.
I was wondering what we should do for next week's podcast, because there's not a race. I think impressions and accents is probably
that's definitely optimal. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was just it's just a very bad end of a relationship, and I think it's sad because Vettel is a top guy, and I never really was a fan of Ferrari, to be fair. Like, the team itself, I always thought it was very like a weird team. Like even the Schumacher era and stuff, it was a lot of team orders and always
that was
weird,
like the
weird vibe
orders
in the team.
Yeah.
It was a weird vibe, you know what I mean? So I never really enjoyed the team, but the drivers, I like them, but the team, I always felt a bit weird about the team.
Yeah, that's interesting because obviously never have been part of any team.
No, for sure, yeah.
Listening to the day-to-day and that kind of stuff. But from the outside, it's other teams that handle stuff a lot better.
Yeah, and
like,
you
the communications is better, and you sort of,
Like Red Bull, you get Red Bull, you kind of feel the vibe a bit, and even if it's like kind of a weird team too, like with race, like drivers and stuff, but you still understand, like, like they are a bit more transparent about, the like who works there, and the team principle is a bit more open, and even like Mercedes also, most other teams also have some kind of interesting social media and stuff. Ferrari is super cold. It's like the team principles are never really like friendly and talking blah blah. And
for media, ages we didn't. Before Binotto, there was no interviews to anyone else other than maybe the Italian press from the team principals. Just nothing. And that was strange, and especially with all the allegations last season about like engine performance and stuff like that. That was,
I mean, they handled it super weird. I mean, the whole engine stuff was handled very poorly. The Vettel thing is, it's and now they won't be performing until 2022. I mean, just the whole situation. I think it's sad to see, really. I think Vettel deserve definitely better. And if he doesn't come back next year, that would be a super sad end of a career for Vettel.
Yeah.
Just
I don't want to.
One of the best racing drivers, and just if he leave the sports like that, then it would be super sad to see him live this way.
It is quite interesting because Vettel currently obviously is nowhere near the top, and Hamilton, who's constantly winning races and getting like new sort of breaking any record that there is. There's records that I have never heard of as well. But
there's two records left for him to break, and that's it. After that, he will have all the records. Basically.
Which are the two records?
I think it's most wins. Is it? I'm not sure.
No, didn't he just get most?
No,
he got
podiums.
most podiums.
Yeah, I think it's wins is still, and probably the win to races ratio. I think something like that. Not sure.
Yeah, but it's crazy because like on the top three for like most podiums and I think win races anyway, it's like Schumacher, Hamilton, and I think Vettel is like third or fourth on most of those statistics as well. Like he has been super consistent over his sort of career, just not had the chance to win with Ferrari, partially
I
to
mean,
him. Like,
do you
know,
think
for
like
whatever
the
reason.
difference in performance is probably due to like the team he's in? Like, would you say like if Vettel was in another team like Mercedes, for example, would it have been like different?
I'd love to see a Vettel and Hamilton at Mercedes. That'd be amazing.
Like
Yeah,
because
I
like
think
you know
so.
now
Yeah,
he's like he maybe lost he lost his I don't know his little extra thing that he had before, and like he does little mistakes and
panache.
stuff. Like, how much is it due to like team atmosphere and like whatever, like and people around you
Yeah,
and stuff like that, you know?
I think massively. I think the challenging times they had at Ferrari over the last couple of years aren't easy for him as a driver. Like for the drivers, in my opinion, because they need to perform as good as they can, they should just sort of get almost everything they want, and then sort of be like as comfortable as they can be to express and like voice their opinions and all that kind of stuff, and just focus on racing. But I think he even did sort of suggestions to Binotto about like technical engineers and sort of team structure and things like that, just to sort of change things a little bit more so that he would be more comfortable and like help the team. But just none of that like sort of ended up being used, or like they just didn't. Yeah,
And
listen
also, I
to him,
think
I
he
guess.
always said like he was like a childhood dream of his to be in Ferrari, and maybe like the
Yeah,
disillusion to trying so hard for like years to just win a championship and it never happened.
yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
not by
Yeah,
his fault, maybe just like a car thing, a team thing, because it was a mess. Like there was you know, they change like team principles and like people inside the team. It was like a very
oh, a huge
weird,
mess. Yeah,
like, you know,
absolutely.
family
Yeah,
to be a part of for the last couple of years. So I think Lewis definitely was in the right team and also had the right people around him. I think like
yeah,
he's like I forgot her precise role, but I think she's like his physio and like pretty much like a PA, whatever, and like he has the right people next to him and also the right team, and I think he found this bubble and he's like
yeah,
like super fulfilled and like like, you know, sharp still, and like he
yeah,
can perform to the max, and he's super happy where he is right now. And I think like
yeah.
that's
Exactly. Yeah,
super important to be like like, you know, 100% focused on what you have to do and not like focused on, oh, our engineers are not the best, or like, you know, I know
yeah.
that when I go out to race, my strategy maybe it's not gonna be the best, so I have to think also about the strategy. So like,
Well,
you know,
maybe
how.
it's not the best. Yeah, probably won't be the best. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, let's let's
Uh,
let's move on. Otherwise,
let's
we can
move on.
talk
Let's
about
move
Ferrari
on.
for.
The poor. Let's stop riding the dead Ferrari horse.
Yeah.
Not fans of anymore.
Sainz and Albon, like we can mention Albon also, so at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like Sainz like just came out in front of Albon after the pit stop, and I thought like Albon was gonna overtake him like super easily, and he tried around the outside, very like crazy move, but didn't work out. Of course, like every driver came on the radio, complained a bit, but it was fine.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
He
just the
pushed me.
race.
He pushed me. Oh.
Yeah, it was dangerous, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then
It's
I was
part of-
like,
part of the
he's
sport.
gonna overtake him easy. Like he's on a Red Bull, new tires. Like they are both on new tires. It's a McLaren, easy. 1 or 2 laps and it's
Yeah.
done. And he couldn't. He didn't
Yeah.
overtake him. And Sainz overtook Vettel, and he still didn't manage to pass Vettel before the end of the race, which is
Yeah.
insanely surprising. I don't know what's happening with his car. I don't know what's, and he doesn't know apparently, which is weird because every race he's like, we got to go back and check the data, but then at some point you got to perform before you check the data. You know what I mean? It's like you
Yeah, there's not
won't
much.
be-
Yeah, like if you checked every corner and you don't know, you still don't know, then that's terrible. I think that's sort of the challenge most F1's teams have, is they go back to figure out what went wrong, but if you can't figure out what went wrong, you don't know how to improve. So
and,
just
and
gotta
also
sort
you
of-
have to sometimes like make it good before the race. Like that's why the practice are there, to make it
Yeah.
like good before the race. Because if you wait for after the race to check what went wrong, then it's too late. I mean, you already lost the race, so there's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
and you won't.
From
go
what I
to-
heard on the,
yeah, it's just,
sorry.
yeah, just a weird thing for Albon. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. From what I heard on the radio, it seemed like he was just not happy with his tires, and he was amazed by how Vettel was doing, like however many laps, 37 or whatever, on
Yeah.
a set of soft tires, when he just lost them after 5 and just couldn't do anything. Like he just had no answer, no sort of. That was sort of what Vettel had almost last race, where he just couldn't. He tried many things and just nothing would work for him.
And also, like
Um,
he was on the hard for the second stint, which didn't help him at all.
No, that was actually.
Uh,
I think that was a bad decision by.
But it was, I think,
Red
the
Bull.
only thing he had was a hard tire, a new hard and a new medium. I
Soft?
think.
or
or
medium?
new soft,
Okay.
sorry, something like that. But he didn't have the same tire allocation and Verstappen, so that's why
Right,
they had
yeah.
no choice really to put him on the hard. But at the same time, it's like, okay, that's the worst tire. But at the same time, it's like the was it like that much of a difference that you had to like drop that far away? And then even after going back on the medium, he couldn't perform even on the medium. So would have been a
No, exactly. Yeah, he just hadn't. I don't know. It was
Uh,
just a shame because usually his qualifyings aren't the best at the moment, but then within the race, like a couple of races, he just found his mojo and just started overtaking like crazy. You could see
and I
he
thought
actually.
I really
saw
thought
the
he was
speed
gonna
and
just
got it.
overtake the Racing Points easy because like
Yeah, that's what I
last
thought
week
as well. Like,
last week the pace of the Racing Points during the race was not that great. This week was
No.
the same. It was good,
Yeah.
but it was nothing close to Max and the Red Bull. And
No.
he and Albon finished 8th, so that's very very far away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, behind Vettel, which really he should have
Yeah,
been able to
he
overtake.
was lapped literally by he was lapped. So that when you finish lapped, it's definitely not good.
Well, everyone was lapped, right? Except the first 3 this time
Yeah.
around.
Except the top 3,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is insane.
That's
Um,
crazy. That
But
is
I mean, it's
absolutely
like
mental.
how it's something is definitely not good with the setup or the tire. I don't know how much of the difference there is between the two cars, but something is not good, and
No,
they have
exactly,
to
yeah,
figure it
yeah.
out like fast. Because I'm not
Well-
even sure if Gasly comes back that is gonna be that much of a difference. Like,
Yeah, like-
is it just the car that is super
Something.
tricky and that it's like Max is just this kind of driver that the car is
Is
perfect
he just?
for
Do you
him?
reckon he's just that good with that car, or the car just works for him? I don't
Maybe
know.
the car is just like super good for him, but almost like only Max. You know what I mean? Like maybe 90% of the other drivers that are going to come on the car won't be able to make it work as Max is doing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder how much difference in driving style there can be with a car like that.
That's
But yeah,
why
I think
I mean,
yeah.
the huge difference though. Like it's a
yeah.
lot of difference. I mean,
Massively. Yeah.
and Albon is good. He's a good driver, and Pierre was a good driver. And like, what is happening that they can't find? Like Daniel was good.
Yeah.
Daniel was the last one that was as close to Max as anyone was.
Yeah. But I don't think he could even challenge him either. Like I think he was still.
I think coming
Fairly
to
far.
this year, I mean, Max is performing so strongly. He's kind of the Lewis
Yeah.
of Red Bull. So
Oh, absolutely. Like the clear number one.
Daniel is really good. Daniel is like very good. Like at Renault, he's showing like the pace he has at Renault. But
Yeah,
I,
but Renault
I
doesn't
think
have
it was
that
definitely a
pace.
good move to leave for Renault. I'm not sure it was a good move to leave for Renault, but yeah.
It was a good move to leave to try something new because I think from what he said and what he felt like, Verstappen was the clear number one of that team, and like for him, he wanted to have that ability with another team. And I think in terms of age, I think it was good enough.
Yeah.
And Renault, if the Renaults do perform, which they didn't really this weekend, then he has a competitive car, which is amazing. But what that gave us actually, like Albon not being that good, gave us like an incredibly interesting sort of mid to end field of like 6 cars that were sort of so close together for so long. Oh my god! I thought that was for me the most interesting part of the race, even because it's
No,
like,
it's almost all the time it's the midfield and Danish anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
yeah, right, yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe it's just the
But the
thing with
racing
F1.
points were there. I mean, they did what they had to do. 4th, 5th.
Yeah. Great.
Stroll had a strong race, and again he was saying like why he was almost like overtaken by Perez. It was because apparently it was supposed to be both on like a tire saving strategy, and at the last second, like apparently he was not like he didn't get that he had to be pushing, so that's why he was surprised at Perez coming back, and then he had to do another stop, and that's why he ended up being behind Perez. So it was a bit of a
Yeah,
like a strategy mess up, but then he still performed. He came back, and with the penalty, he just ended up being 4th, and he had a strong race and showing that he, people saying like, a lot of people, and I was also sometimes I say it too, like it's true, like he's a paid driver because he brings a lot of money to the team, but at the same time, it's
That
like
is
Perez. They both bring a lot of money, but they also have
yeah.
really good drivers, and he showed.
Oh
that
yeah,
he's-
100%. Yeah.
He showed that
Otherwise
he's
they wouldn't
definitely
be
as
there.
good as Perez.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was good to see that he sort of was able to close up to Paris, who had his 5-second.
Yeah, he closed up
penalty,
really
yeah.
good, and I think the overall, I think he had a strong weekend, and it's not the first time this year that he has a strong weekend, so
Yeah, no,
good
no,
for him for
definitely.
sure. And yeah, I think Gasly had a super strong weekend. Like Vettel also, we didn't mention, but yeah, Vettel had a good, like he managed to keep the tires on and finished
Yeah.
7th. Albon sadly 8th after him, but then Gasly was 9th. Again in the
Nice.
point. This guy is just
That's
like
really good. Yeah.
how he was
For
like
his
at
team.
some point. I think he finished like a second and a half behind Albon, and at some point I was like, he's probably gonna overtake Albon.
Yeah,
And I was
like it looked like he was competitive with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Red Bull. Yeah, which is sort of that's crazy to see because the Red Bull should be way faster. But it's
And-
good for Gasly, 100%.
Oh yeah, he's performing super strongly week in week out. He's just like coming and performing, and
Yeah.
pushing his AlphaTauri as much as he can. I think
as much as they give him.
I mean, compared to Fiat, I don't think Fiat can hope much for next year. I mean, I think they definitely like he's not anything close to Gasly, and
No.
Red Bull has drivers waiting. So I don't know why they would keep Fiat for next year. To be fair, like if he continues to just be like, not as close as Gasly as it should.
Yeah.
There's drivers waiting for a chance to perform. So that's his second chance already in Red Bull and at Formula One. So
Yeah.
that's not the best comeback I would have imagined. So yeah,
No. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, there is still a few races left, but Gasly is just being so strong this year. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Gasly and what where he's going to go and sort of like
for
his
sure.
performance within this year.
And then it was like, the Williams were not that far away from the others. Like somehow there was no
Not that far away.
It was like
Yeah.
what I mean is that they were not like last and like they were not like the last cars and were like 15
Yeah.
seconds away from like the cars above. They were
That's
like
true.
literally in there. They were like fighting with some cars. They were like 3 seconds away from like the Renault or something. So it was like they could keep up with the field, and that was very positive. And even Russell at the end was like very positive weekend, even though you don't see it on TV and whatever. But they were battling with cars. They could keep up with the other cars. So that's already like something positive for them.
Oh
did-
yeah.
Because like
As
sometimes
things go, yeah.
it was like the
100%.
lights
Right.
the lights went green, and then they had like cars leaving, and then they had to drive for like an hour and a half with no one in front.
Yeah, being lapped and then just maybe fighting.
Yeah,
each
the
other,
only
but
thing was
not
being
really.
lapped
Russell.
sometime twice. So
Yeah. I think only Latifi and Grosjean got lapped twice.
yeah. So I think it was like it's a good thing for them to be there and like keep up with other cars. It's just a progression, and happy to see Williams kind of coming back slowly, but surely.
Slow. Yeah, definitely
Well,
slowly,
you
but
know,
they're coming.
We hope like maybe 2022 hopefully will be like a new year for
Yeah.
them. I hope so.
Because for them, their budget doesn't change as far as I'm aware. Where everyone else is sort of losing, or not losing, but spending less money on it. So
Yeah, already next year is going to be a good thing for them to have other teams having less of a difference in budget for sure.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then Renault, I mean that was a bad weekend for them, 11 and 13th. I mean
Yeah.
just very probably, and there was I think the new boss of Renault was there, so nice.
Yeah, of Renault, like the full car company of everything. Right? Not the team.
Probably yeah.
I think so. That's what I heard.
So again, not great
Yeah.
to see where the money is going. I mean,
We can't see where the money's going at this point. So
it's been a few years now, and
yeah.
not doing much with it. So
No, not very consistent. I think is their issue, that they are like, they can be good, but they're just not consistent.
yeah, it's weird. I mean, the progression has not been insane, to be fair. Like, and the
No, that's
engine
true.
is
Yeah.
they can't beat McLaren with the same engine. It's just insane.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if Mercedes was being beaten like every week by Williams. Like,
That would be crazy.
That's as simple as
Yeah.
that. It would be insane.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I mean, or like Racing Point was beating, or As was beating Ferrari. Same thing. It's like it wouldn't make any sense. And that's
No,
what's
yeah, that's
happening to Renault. It's like they're being beaten by their last customer before having no more customers by
Yeah.
McLaren every week. So that's not good.
No. Yeah.
Again, like both McLaren in the points, and Sainz had a super strong weekend. Like the race was amazing by Sainz. He was driving super good,
100%. Yeah,
defending like crazy. The soft, like the putting him on the soft at some point on like the middle stint was perfect. Like he just pushed super hard and was able to like be there in sixth. So couldn't have been better for Sainz and McLaren.
No, exactly. Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, it's nice to see McLaren, consistent compared to like.
And also Sainz showing
I
that he's actually there, because Norris was kind of outshining him for the last couple of races, and he showed that he's still there. So also
I was
like
more surprised by sort of how slow Norris was rather than how good
the
Sainz
track.
was.
I was like, for all the series, all the championships and stuff, the track is good. But for F1, I was not sure it was the best, and then like this weekend just showed that it's definitely not the best for a Formula 1 race. Probably for testing, it's still a good. I mean, the layout and everything, it's a cool track. But for Formula 1 racing, I'm not sure it should stay there. I think there is better tracks to go to.
I think so too. It wasn't the most exciting.
We'll quickly see it in the next, in the following races, because we'll go to new tracks. So we'll quickly see if there is anything that that comes by that is better than Barcelona, and I think there is. Like even Hockenheim, that is not there anymore, is better and creates way better racing and way more entertaining. And
100% agree with that. Yeah, I actually do usually like the track, but I feel like with this current cast and the way everything's set up, it just wasn't. The race just wasn't that exciting, and it's all about tire management. I
mean, after 5 laps, it was already over. Like there was no one was overtaking
that was sort of it.
anyone.
Like,
the gaps were huge. I mean, the top 3 was like a minute away from it. It was like just there was no point anymore in watching like the middle 40 laps of the race. So
I'm looking forward to not next weekend, in 2 weeks in Belgium.
That's always that's a classic. That's a classic. One of the best tracks in the world.
Absolutely, 100%.
For any racing, for endurance racing, for Formula 1 racing, it's always great. So,
is there anything else that sort of stood out for you about the race, or should we go on to our race predictions about Spa?
I think for the race, that's pretty much it. I mean, as we said, like we talked about Ferrari and stuff, because I think
we talked a lot about Ferrari.
Precise race action was not much, so that's why we.
Exactly, that's why we went a bit off topic,
But let's do race predictions, for sure.
Let's go to race predictions. I had a little sneak at last year's, not the results, but just more so the race highlights of the Grand Prix in Belgium. Crazy. 2 Ferraris battling for the win and stuff like that. It's just, what? I don't think it's going to happen this year round. I just don't think so. But do you want to start us off with your qualifying predictions?
Sure. I mean, you know what? I won't even chance it this time. I'll just say. You know why? I'm not. I was gonna say like just a basic Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, but the problem with Verstappen is Racing Point has really good straight line speed, and there is very long straights at Spa.
Yeah, like with very tiny sort of corners.
I'll go for a wild Paris on third, and just Hamilton, Bottas, Paris.
Wild Paris on third. Hamilton, Bottas, Paris. Not Hulkenberg.
Not Stroll. I'm not sure. It could be Stroll too, but let's say Paris just because.
So I meant Hulkenberg. No, never mind. Yeah.
Let's say age, whatever.
Age, fair enough.
Experience, blah blah. But
I think Paris is qualifying performance compared to Stroll. Yeah, I think he'd have the upper hand. I'm gonna say Bottas just to be different. Hamilton. He's gonna come back stronger. He's gonna find that fire, Bottas. Believe in you. Don't let me down. And then Verstappen. I still think Verstappen can pull it. Put a qualifying lap together better than the Racing Points can.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen for me. What do you think the Ferrari boys are going to do?
I'll say same as this week. I'd say 9th and 11th.
9th and 11th.
I'll put Leclerc 9th and Vettel 11th. Just because I don't know. Just
it's getting a bit. Maybe we should change the teams to do other predictions every now and then. It's getting a little bit sad with the boys in red.
Yes.
I mean, I'll go something similar. 8th for Leclerc and 10th for Vettel.
Okay.
The unlucky 10th. Bit better.
But
and then
for the race, I will bet on rain at some point. So I will say
Gonna go
Hamilton,
crazy race.
Verstappen. That's a tricky one.
Stroll, Norris.
You know what?
Who's
Yeah,
gonna
let's do that. Let's do that. Because who cares anyway? No one is gonna bet money on it. So Hamilton, Verstappen. No, you know what? Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris.
Verstappen. Okay, Hamilton, Norris.
Yeah.
Can't even talk anymore. We're not betting money on this. What am I sending you this money for every week?
Oh shit.
It's not for the bet.
No, it's for that, man. That's yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. I was gonna say.
I bet
thought we put a bet
every
in.
week. I bet £1,000 every week. That's
Yeah.
just for betting.
That's what I'm sending you. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Don't gamble, kids. If you listen.
I didn't buy a new car with it. No, I just
What?
bet for you the
Not
money.
getting a motorcycle license with that. No.
Oh no, absolutely not.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a boring race. Hamilton is going to overtake Bottas at some point, and then it's gonna be Verstappen. I think again. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. 1, 2, 3. The classic. Bottas is gonna be happy that he's not third. No, Bottas is not gonna be happy. Bottas is gonna be sad because he's lost his qualifying. Never mind. We'll see. The guys in red.
I mean, it's again, the only thing they can bet on is a one-stop strategy for them. That's the only way they can kind of be in the top 10. Like
Yeah.
if they did a two-stop this week, they would have been far away. So
Yeah.
I would say, and the straight line speed is not good. So I think Renault is going to be okay. I think McLaren is going to have a strong race. Racing Point for sure. So I'd say like barely in the points, like 9.
I was gonna say like you got a top 3 and then you named 6 other cars that are gonna. So what, like 9th?
If they can do points, I'll be good. So yeah, let's bet like 9th. Again, I'll support Vettel, so 9th Vettel, and then 11th for Leclerc. Just the opposite, I guess, from qualifying.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it's gonna be super tricky for them to do. If the other teams perform as I think they will, it's gonna be tricky for them to keep up because straight line speed and overall car performance is gonna be tricky.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like, because Leclerc won last year's race.
Yeah, but there's no.
I think
chance.
they're
No
so far from that this year, which is.
I mean,
sad to see.
apparently they were saying like they're gonna forbid party mode for like the qualifying.
Yeah, I heard that.
But
That was interesting.
also apparently Mercedes didn't use it this week for qualifying, so that's depressing. If there's like 8/10 almost with no like special engine modes.
I don't know if they just said that or whatever, or like.
They didn't say it. Someone apparently just I don't know, it was like in the commentaries at some point, but I don't think they said it openly. But,
Yeah,
if
but
it's
you can
true,
still-
then come on.
they're not getting rid of engine modes completely, though, are they?
No, I think it's just a little extra whatever. I don't know
Yeah,
the
but, like,
exact
the-
details, but
Yeah. Oh, I think
they
it's
can probably like overtake button, but they can't do like a extra like just push it to them like kind of they can't actually
yeah.
do
I
a
think
special
the
mode
way
for
they use
qualifying or something.
I think the way they use their electrical energy
Yeah, something
qualifying
like that,
might be something like that, where they can't use all of it or something like that, or there has to regen. Not entirely sure on that. Again, I don't think it makes a huge difference unless they would get rid of engine modes and you just get one engine mode and it like runs like most other cars.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true anymore.
No,
If you
that's
buy a
not
new car
true.
these
Yeah,
days, you get like 5-6 different modes. If you buy like something like an AMG or something, you get like 20 or something. I don't know. Race, comfort,
the
luxury,
little normal
Sunday
car, you
drive.
have like power mode, like eco and whatever,
Yeah.
definitely.
Let's say like in an old car. Yeah. Right. Sorry, I'll give you my Ferrari predictions and then we wrap it up. I'm gonna say Leclerc 8th and Vettel 10th. I don't know. I feel like Vettel is gonna get a bad strategy again in 2 weeks. We'll have to see. I hope not.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
very tricky for the Ferrari, but yeah, we'll see. Should be
Yeah, it
interesting.
is. Yeah, I'm
I also
looking forward to
think that
Belgium.
it's gonna be boring for the top. No, again, if there is rain, everything is different. But if there is no rain and it's a straightforward race, then I don't see how Mercedes is not gonna fly away, like literally.
Yeah.
Because like otherwise, like I think that the midfield is gonna be super interesting because there's a lot of like substream and
Yeah.
like long straight, so it's gonna be a very tight battle. I think in the midfield, but
That's what
top
I'm looking
three,
forward to. Yeah.
Probably Verstappen is gonna be like in no man's land, and then Vettel, Bottas
bored
and
again.
Hamilton. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a possibility if there is no rain, but I hope like as bad as ever that it's gonna be raining again this week, like almost every week. Like it's gonna rain.
It was so
lap
close.
50, that would be rain, and then no
you
rain.
See it.
And then like an hour after, when they were packing up, it was raining.
Yeah.
I was like,
just chucking it.
why?
On. Just do the race
Why?
a bit later, guys. Come on. I don't know.
In
I'm still thinking we should do.
Silverstone, there's rain. It's raining very close by, and then
like
rain.
10 minutes. 10 minutes of rain. 10 minutes.
We need rain in Formula One. Like we need rain so bad. Like just we need.
It comes back to our great list of ideas of how to improve, how to fix.
And
Formula
also,
1.
we don't need anyone saying like, it will rain, and it doesn't. Don't say anything. Just don't bring hope to people if it's not gonna. Like in the broadcast, they were showing like the weather maps and like the clouds and the weather maps and the clouds, and nothing happened. So like, just don't show it. Just don't tease us if it's not gonna happen. Like there's so much hope and excitement.
Exactly.
For
we want that surprise. We want that sort of You want to be only using the edge of your seat, because that's how intense it is.
We want like the commentators to be like, it's raining, and you're like, oh no,
we didn't expect that at all, and now it's snowing. Woo!
But yeah, just like no rain is a bit boring for what's happening right now. But hopefully, Belgium, forests, stuff like that could bring a bit of magical rain. But
magical rain.
Who knows?
All right.
Hope,
Shall we wrap it up?
For sure.
Matt, for this week's episode of the Matt and Rob podcast.
Yes. Again, I was thinking like, it was a boring race. We'll do a short podcast, but we end up talking about.
I think it's probably the longest one we've done so far. I don't know. I didn't put a stopwatch down.
I don't know how we do this, but
yeah.
Let's not bore people a bit too long. Let's just stop it.
Exactly. We'll try and keep it short. Next week we'll do another episode of something. We'll see. No race, unfortunately, so I won't shave, I won't shower. It'll just be a depressing week for me, but hey, 2 weeks from now I'll be back to normal. And thank you very much for watching, everyone, and listening.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.